Recording in progress.
I hate that. Welcome back, guys. It's your girl, Mandolin Baez, and you're watching or probably definitely listening to, maybe watching, Bay with the Z podcast. I'm back, bitches. It's been a while. I missed you guys, and I have a very special guest tonight. He's super freaking just creative, and he's big in the comedy scene. Give it up for Victor Varnado.
All right. Thanks a lot. Also, you might want to adjust your meaning of big. I have friends in comedy who make me seem not big in comedy at all. That's all is what I'm saying.
Well, I feel like you're especially in the alternative comedy scene, I feel like you're pretty known within that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't know for sure. I can't even tell you who knows me and who doesn't know me. I'm often surprised by who knows me and who doesn't know me.
Well, when I believe it was your assistant reached out, or a coworker of yours reached out, and when she brought up your name, I'm like, holy crap, I've seen you in the films. What was it with Arnold? Arnold Schwarzenegger, and
yeah, I was in an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Yeah,
yes, that's true.
There was like multiple where you were making like cameos, but you were so just
when I started out, I was appearing in like random big movies a lot because I was really going for being an actor, but then I kind of cooled my jets on that a lot because of the type of roles that I was getting. So then because they were always like, oh, you play another albino guy or play the creepy guy. And eventually I was like, that's not.
They were
there's more to my work.
Right. Yeah, they were definitely typecasting you for sure.
Yeah. And I've only recently started reaching out and doing more acting again. But now I have enough experience, at least, so that people kind of know that I have a range.
Right. Well, I guess I feel like most comedians kind of start out in the acting in a way, especially when it's extending from like improv and things like that, because I've sort of done the same thing. I was like, do I want to get into acting? Then I just realized how much, I'm not saying comedy is not competitive, it definitely is, but just something about the acting world is a little bit different than, or a lot different than, the comedy world for sure.
Yeah, I'd definitely say they're different. I can't say that I'm a big fan of maneuvering through either necessarily. I'm not like, I do perform in clubs, but I'm not like a club comic, and I also am not like a road comic really either. Like, I'm a very precious I'm a very precious, dainty, arty farty comic. That's where I would say
You're a little rare gem. That's a rare gem. I like that though.
Well, no, I mean, but it really is like, I have friends whom I like, who used to open for me, but because they're more relentless in like how they do their comedy thing, like, and I applaud them. I wish I could do that same thing. I wish I was like the type of person who's like, I got to get up 5 times a night. I got to travel all to every single nook and cranny club all over the US, build that audience. Like, if I wish I was that guy, because I would probably be more famous now, but I'm not. So, I have friends like, I would say like, I in fact, one of the specials I did a while back, like, I was a headliner, and Eric Andre and Hannibal Buress were opening for me, and that
I saw that one. Yes,
that would be that wouldn't happen today.
Hey, it's not. It's not for everyone. The traveling, it's exhausting, and then just on top of it all these different environments. I guess like you'd have to, I don't want to say switch up your set necessarily, But I did a show in London, for example, and I did the same thing that I normally do here in the States, and it was just not the same feedback that I would get here. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's just it can be exhausting from what I can imagine. And I guess what made you not want to do a tour around the States or whatnot? What made you not want to kind of hop on that bandwagon that most comedians do?
Well, I mean, two reasons. One, the one is that I don't like staying in dirty hotels.
Is that the main reason, or it's kind of like just
that is a big reason though, because when you're starting out touring across the country, they will give you some very, very crappy sleeping quarters. Like
they're putting you into the residence inn, or not residence inn. They're putting in. Yeah, go on. I'm sorry.
I was on tour once with a few people, and we were touring, and when we went to the hotel, there was like a cocoon on the bed.
What?
Yeah, there's like a cocoon. There's like the bed was so untouched and old and they hadn't cleaned the room. Like a bug had made a cocoon on the bed, and there was like a cocoon on the bed. And I was like, I don't want to, like, this is my life. I was like, I don't want to do that.
Christ.
That's one of the reasons, and that's why I say I'm super prissy. Like, that's true. It is 100% true. I don't want to be in just dirty hotels, and you do have to do that when you're being. I mean, and it's just part of the rite of passage of like being a road comic. Like when you start out, you just have to stay in crappy places sometimes. Number two is I have a lot of anxiety, and so interaction in comedy clubs is not my favorite thing a lot of the time, because I don't know why it is with comedy clubs, but there's always like one or two people who are part of the staff or ownership of comedy clubs who are just bitter black holes of like the kind of people, like there's always, like, almost every comedy club has somebody who's just like devoid of like a human soul. And so like that bugs me. It does a lot. Anybody that anybody that knows me generally will say that I'm not a person who can like say certain things to people, like if you're in an argument with somebody that you love, then there's certain things, like for me at least, that I don't say. And then there are people who will just say anything.
Oh, I just say what I'm feeling.
Well, yeah, what you're feeling, but some people are saying stuff like, I hope your mother fucking blows up, and, I hope an alligator with cancer eats your mother's vagina. Some people will say stuff like that to each other when they're angry, and and I think those type of people are frequent comedy clubs.
Oh, I see. I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, not all comedians. I think most of us aren't normal. I mean, but what is normal anyway?
Oh no, I don't think I'm. I'm not. I don't have it together at all. I'm just saying what I personally don't like.
Right.
And one of the and so I have, like, I know comedian friends who were like, the deal was when comedians got together, they just started insulting each other. Like when I first started out, like I was hanging out with dudes, like I would be in a room with like Joe Rogan, Patrice O'Neal, and it's, I mean, Patrice was just notorious for just like taking the piss out of people, which is totally fine, but it was just like not my thing.
It's not everyone's cup of tea. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I definitely am not the person to be like, your fucking nose is fat, you're ugly, and then like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not. I'd rather just do that for myself. Self-deprecation always works, but to do it on an audience member that's there to literally see you succeed, on stage. It kind of sucks when you're just, you know, tearing them apart. So that's definitely not my forte, but I mean, other comics it works, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. But my very close friends, I'm like that with. Like, we can talk a lot of shit to each other and it's fine. But like,
Yeah.
but people just I don't know, and just like that kind of environment, like it's not my favorite thing. So
My thing is like, wait, you're saying people you don't know doing this to you, or?
yeah, like when you're in comedy clubs, or like where a lot of the comedians, especially with guy comedians, a lot.
Oh yeah,
It's like
yeah.
It's very much like everybody's, you know, trying to talk shit to everybody in a funny way. It's kind of like who's got the biggest clout.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of just like, I'm just not with it.
Right. I mean, as a woman in this industry, I feel like that hasn't really been for me. Women are a little, I mean, we could be a little catty, but I feel like when it comes in to like a comedy club and there's another woman comic, we're not like, oh, you're a bitch. Like, we're not like, it's not high school for us. But I mean, with the men, I kind of do see like a little bit of more of an ego thing and kind of over masculating, like, I don't know. Dudes are always like that.
Yeah, and I have my own problems. I have my own dude problems. But wanting to just like hang out in that kind of environment. Like, actually, I didn't even really try to perform at clubs until after I had gotten on television.
So like, what? How does that even how does that make sense? How does that happen?
Because when I first came to New York, and what I started doing was I was just performing at open mics, and I was just trying to hone my skills in open mics. I also had a special rule. Like, when I first started comedy, I didn't swear. I wouldn't swear when I did stand up because I wasn't going to, because I was trying to learn, and I wanted to just like be funny without any crutches. And so I swear now because it's fun. But
you're a big boy now.
But when I started to, like, until I got on Conan O'Brien, I never sweared in my act at all. And then so I would just do open stages and just try to get as solid as I possibly could. And then I did one bringer show. So like when I was like really, really good and my stuff was really solid and I could talk to other comics and they were like, yeah, your work is, you know, good. And I was sure about what I was doing. I did one bringer show where I got a magnificent tape.
Oh,
I sent
nice.
that tape to Conan O'Brien's.
Hell yeah, that's the goal.
I sent that tape to Conan O'Brien. It took about 8 months, but I got on. And then once I got on Conan O'Brien, it was easier to go to clubs because I didn't have to go through that system of like eating shit to get on stage, you know, at a bigger club.
Wow. That is so, I mean, that you definitely have the upper hand when you have clean material. Most comedians I feel like don't have that. So
No, go ahead, you first.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I'm still trying to hone that in. My goal is still to try to write a good 5-10 minute good clean material. Like,
I feel like it trained me. The reason I did it was because I had a real chip on my shoulder. Like I told you, like at the beginning, like where people would just cast me as like the albino guy and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And so I was like, I had a real chip on my shoulder and I had like a lot to prove. I was like, I wanted to prove that I could, without swearing, be funnier than other comics who swore. Now, it doesn't actually matter. Swear, doesn't swear, it doesn't matter. Funny is funny, and I don't really care. But when I was younger, that was my thought process, that I was funnier if I could get those kind of laughs without swearing. But it is an interesting skill. What it actually became good for was being a creative lead on projects. Like I'll be called in to write or copyright or do stuff all the time like that. That is like, because I can be like a high level of funny and not really offensive. That is money in the bank.
Oh, absolutely. I guess my next question would be like, who were your influences when you were first starting out in comedy? Like, who were one of your favorites that you looked up to?
Well, I did really like I love Dave Chappelle, of course.
Oh yeah,
Especially
King.
early Dave Chappelle. I like Dave Chappelle when he was goofier. Like earlier, he was like much goofier than he is now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and now his shows like kind of seem like sermons. I'm like, it's just like a different vibe. It's like a different vibe. Do you remember his bit when he was like, "That's a like the bit that he did was like there was a baby on a baby on the sidewalk in the middle of the night, just
Oh
like
my God,
standing.
yeah.
And, like, yeah, like that's way goofier than what he does now. You know, I mean, he's still funny, but just like he's definitely goofier.
He acted out a lot. Like, still one of my favorite routines he did was about, what was it, Sesame Street, where he just started acting out all the characters. How Sesame Street is the same as like real life in a way. I don't know if you remember that.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that bit, but I probably would if I saw it again. I mean, obviously he's put out a lot of material, so.
Right.
But yeah, I like Dave Chappelle just because he is one of those guys that I just think is just like taps into that feeling that you can have. You know, like when you're with your friends and you just can't stop laughing, and like someone is being just so funny, and it's half because they're being funny, but it's also half because of the connection that they have with you.
Right.
I feel like he builds that connection with people really fast, and that's amazing. I always love that. And then also I'm a big fan of Groucho Marx.
Okay.
Groucho Marx, because he was just always being funny. Like he was always thinking and being funny in his private life, in his public life. He was always just doing funny things. When he was a big star, he would go heckle open mic comedians.
Oh my God.
And they would be
troll.
heckled by Groucho Marx.
That I'd honestly feel honored. I'd be like, you know what, this is a test.
It's so funny that he used to do that. One time he got the honor of like ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange, and he shut the place down and just told jokes for 15 or 20 minutes, and like no trades happened while he was doing that.
What?
He told jokes and sang songs at the New York Stock Exchange. He's just like a weird, funny dude. Like he just did such crazy stuff. And he was so good at insulting and riffing with people that he said in an interview that often when he's actually insulting people, they think it's a joke. That's how good he was at insulting people. Just like it was so common that he would just throw insults at people that people didn't believe him when he was actually mad.
Wow.
Like to be just dedicated to comedy is pretty amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm such a good, not saying he's a bad person, but I'm just so much more reserved when it comes to like trying to make fun of people, especially during like crowd work, for example. I mean, I do it, but I'm not like as harsh as other comics might be, you know?
I make fun of people a lot, but I only make fun of people in a way that they laugh at. Like I don't like I I don't call people ugly or fat or anything like that, but I will. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. If an audience member goes across a certain line, all bets are off, and I will light them up.
Right? Yeah.
If they go across a certain line, if they're like heckling and just being terrible, like I will light somebody up, and I have before. But in general, I don't pick people out and just mess with them.
Right. I mean, I guess I try to. I do this bit where I discuss how I've been arrested. I've been arrested before, and then I kind of go like, oh, who's been arrested here? And depending on who raises their hand, I'm like, oh yeah, you definitely look like you've had handcuffs.
Oh yeah,
on you.
yeah, because it's inclusive. It's like inclusive.
Right,
Like
yes.
they're saying, they're like raising their hand, like saying they want to be part of the show, and you're just making them part of the show. So that's not really insulting them.
Right. Yeah. So I kind of like get away, like skim way through that, but other than that, I'm not like, yo, your hair's fucked up, man. Like, go to the bathroom. Like, I'm not like cruel, because then I feel bad, and then I just get off my routine. But Yeah, I guess what got you into comedy? What like made you be like, holy shit, I can do this. Like this can be a career for me.
I actually think that what got me into comedy was just straight up being teased when I was a kid because I had to be funnier than other people to protect myself.
Damn.
And I was just basically when I was from like elementary school on, I was just great at I was very funny.
Mhm.
And I was mean too because I was clever and I would just go for because people would come after me and I would just
Right.
get better at it. And so I would just go for like whatever thing that really like made that person like stop talking and get just like I would just go hardcore. And that just led to a world where then I got more into like acting classes in high school.
Mhm.
Then I would do plays. I tried stand up a little bit when I was in high school. Then I didn't really do it again until I moved to New York. But one time I was actually specifically told I should go do stand up because I had this sketch and improv group
Mhm.
called the Bad Mama Jammas, and in Minneapolis we were the shit. Like we
Wow.
were in Minneapolis, and inside the Bad Mama Jammas were it was me, Colton Dunn. Colton Dunn he plays Garrett on Superstore in NBC. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So like we were both from Minneapolis. We actually moved to New York together.
Wow.
Okay, so it was me, Colton Dunn, and a bunch of other just like really funny people, like solidly funny people.
Mhm.
Okay, and then most of them I think still do theater and stuff in Minnesota, but they never came out to New York like we did. But anyway, so there was just like a bunch of funny people. We were so popular in Minneapolis that the HBO Aspen Comedy Festival came out to Minneapolis to scout us because like
Wow.
word was around that we were like the funniest thing in Minneapolis. Then so they came, they scouted us. We did a show in front of our home audience, and we just destroyed like hardcore. And they're like, we want to have the producers of the HBO Aspen Comedy Festival look at you guys. Can you come to Chicago next week? And then we were like, okay. We all piled into just like a ratty car and then went down to Chicago and performed after one of their improv shows. And we went to Chicago and we performed, and we bombed so hard.
Damn.
Like in front of the producers of the HBO Aspen Comedy Festival, to the point where the woman who brought us in told me, yeah, you had a better chance before you came down to Chicago.
Fuck. Oh my God.
Because we bombed so hard. And then she was just like, said she basically went down the list of like, this person was funny and this person was funny. She named me as one of the people that was funny. And she was like, you should do stand-up instead because you won't have to rely on other people.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wait, so this was like a sketch kind of thing? Like a sketch
it was
performance?
like a sketch. It was sketch and improv. And we were like,
okay.
we were the shit where we were from. And we went down to Chicago and bombed so hard. It was so humiliating.
Oh my God. I mean, you're not a comedian unless you bomb 100 times. So that's for sure.
Oh yeah, we we bombed hard.
Shit. I mean, how long have you been doing this for?
I have been doing comedy professionally for like 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you weren't doing this right now, like if you weren't doing comedy or film production, what else would you have been doing?
I think you would just have to take away the arts, because I do a lot of different things in the arts. If I wasn't doing anything in the arts though, I would probably either be a computer programmer. Okay. Because that's what I was doing in the very beginning, and that's what I was really into. I make video games and stuff now. I have a video game website actually that I make.
That is so. I'm a gamer. Like,
oh, you would love. Oh my God, you have to do. Okay, check this out. So I have a video game website called High Score Wins Money.
Okay.
I make games on the site, and then every day, whoever gets the highest score on the game on the site, we give $100 to.
What? All right, I'm writing this down.
Yeah, in fact, we're doing a month promotion with my podcast right now where we're sponsoring it. We're sponsoring it. So like $100 a day, $100 a day, and you go and play. We're launching a new game next week, actually. Right now there's a game called Lovely Moth. That's the game you can play. But you could also, that was made by a friend of mine named Will Brierly. But then there's also 2 other games on the site that are made by me. One is called Break Invaders, which is half Space Invaders and half Breakout.
I am dead. Wow, I'll definitely look into it. I love I'm slowly getting into PC games, but normally I play on like PlayStation, like console stuff.
Well, this you can play on your phone or anything. It turns your phone into a Game Boy.
Oh my god. Oh, I'm definitely sharing this. That is super cool. Yeah,
it's really fun.
Wow.
It's really fun. And get in now because we're about to launch a big marketing thing to get more people in. So there's only like a couple of thousand people who are on the site normally.
Yeah.
And so that number's about to go up.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'll definitely look into it when we're done filming this stuff. But that's amazing. What? I guess, have you always been into like the video game tech kind of world? Like,
yeah, since I was a kid, I used to walk to the mall to learn how to use computers. I would go into like Radio Shack. This is like in the 80s. And I would go into
I haven't heard of Radio Shack in a minute.
Yeah, it was like the early 80s. I would go into Radio Shack. It may have been earlier than that. Like, yeah, it could have been in the late 70s. I would go into Radio Shack and use like those big clunky TRS-80 computers, and they would let me do that, and I would do that every day. That's what I would do for fun, is go sit on a computer.
What other things that I want to know about you? I guess your style. You're kind of when you perform. That's why I mentioned alternative comedian, and you were like, I don't know if I'm that, but I think you are. Pretty sure you are. But I guess, what's your style, would you say?
I would say my style is funny.
It's funny.
I do funny things and say funny things. I can't even say that I have a particular style because I know that depending on what I'm trying to say, my delivery might change. And so I try to do things. I try to just tackle things that I think that maybe people don't necessarily want to talk about, but I try to put things in a way that I try to put things out there in a way that people understand. I don't even know what I'm saying right now.
I know, I'm all over the place. This is what my show's all about. I'm kind of just like, normally I'm really high on these shows, or like on weed, not anything extreme. I'm either stoned. No, not just shooting up live. No, never. But normally I am like pretty stoned, or I have like a little glass of wine here and there. But right now I'm like super sober, which is great. I don't have a problem. I don't know.
Oh, anyway, I'm totally gonna get high on your show now.
No,
Boom.
you have to. I'll invite you on.
Yeah.
Oh,
here we go, right here. One hitter. Boom.
I have.
Oh, I have like a weed brand called Dynamo Kingdom. It's not my own weed, but it's just like a brand that I'm starting that is like, it is around the weed culture. And I did a show with Marina Franklin.
Yes. Oh,
yeah, we did a show with Marina Franklin, and Rob Cantrell was in the show. It was like a lot of cool people. We did a show at the Chelsea Music Hall. It was really fun.
Oh, I love Marina. She's been around for a while too.
Yeah, she's awesome. We kind of started out together.
Oh, is she from? Where's she from?
Hell, no, I'm kidding. She's from she's from Chicago. Yeah, she's from. Is she from Chicago? I think so. Yeah.
So I'll Google it later. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's Chicago.
See, I know back in the day, well, now that weed is legal almost everywhere, they have like the weirdest names for them. What is this? Honey buns? Taste nothing like honey buns though. So,
and it probably never will. No. And nobody will ever care.
Right? It's like wedding cake. What are all these fucking names? As long as it does the job. I want to ask you, what's your writing process like?
What is my writing process? Well, I write in 30 different ways, and I keep one thing in mind when I write. So one way I write is on stage. I'll just improvise something. And another way I write is I'll just sit down and I'll just write an essay. But usually, but all of those kind of wrap up in the third way that I usually write, which is just like back and forth. Like I'll write something, go on stage, write what I liked from that performance, go back on stage, and keep going back and forth and building things like that. In fact, that's probably like part of that. I mean, that's part of every joke process, I think.
Okay.
Except in very few cases in my experience.
I see.
How do you write?
I have a little format kind of thing where it's well, I have a little notebook everywhere I go, no matter what. If some funny shit happens, I quickly write it down or I put it in my notes on my phone.
Yep.
But when it comes to like writing routines, I, gather what I've written, all that random shit, try to either make a story out of it, or I'm more of like a storyteller, or or anything that's happened in my life that was so ridiculous, I make it into a routine and I write it out.
I'll trade you.
Yeah.
I'll
Trade me.
trade you. I'll read you my last comedy note on my phone if you read me your last comedy note.
You want to do it right now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. All right. What?
Because I have a little notepad thing on my phone where when I think of funny things, I write it down. I mean,
yeah, I have to.
And I'm reading this knowing full well that whatever I'm reading might not be funny at this point.
Right. I
it's
like
just an idea.
I like weed, so I might have been very high and thought it was funny at that moment, but it's probably not. Okay, this is not. You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay, it's under comedy ideas. I don't remember writing this. Openly abusing her cat on Facebook, the Carney forum page, trying to buy it back from the animal rescue. So this woman, this woman wrote a whole paragraph about how she's never abused her cat on a page from my hometown. Everyone in town could read this, and it's on Facebook. I don't know if I mentioned that. And she's basically just begging for her cat back after people have witnessed her abuse it, I guess. So she's asking the group how she can buy her cat back from the rescue animals. So I'm trying to figure out how to make. I don't know. I just thought it was the funniest shit. But that is the last thing I wrote in my ideas. Your turn, Victor.
I wish this was not the last thing that I wrote in my ideas because it's really incomplete. But it's like a paragraph. But I'm going to read it to you anyway.
Let's do
because
it.
Why not? I wrote, I think people can be called stupid when they believe everything they hear without investigating at all. Like maybe the dumbest people of all are people who are if a shark attacks you, what you got to do is punch it in his nose.
In the nose.
I think that's a thing that everybody's heard. But you know what I've never seen is someone in one of those after the act news videos where some guy was like, yeah, that shark came out at me and I punched him right in his nose. And and this shark was like, oh my. And I was like, yeah. So you picked the wrong motherfucker. You picked the wrong motherfucker. And then I walked out of the water and a bear came out. I laid down, pretended I was dead. The bear was like, oh shit. And I was like, yeah, you picked the wrong motherfucker.
Oh my god. Oh my god. What a wild imagination.
That's stupid.
I can't. That is gold. Yeah, you need to do something with that.
It's a brand new idea. I haven't even tried it on stage yet.
I'm dead. That's kind of one of the ways I wanted to go in life. I want to go with like a bang. And I always told myself a shark attack would be so crazy.
I always fear that I'm going to die by falling into gears.
Into gears.
Yeah, I
like
think
the turning thingies.
yeah, like gears. Like if I fall into like a bunch of gears, like that would be the worst way to go. And
How
that is my biggest fear, that I die by falling into gears.
where would you be? Would you be in some factory? Like, I guess avoid being in
You could
those
be in a
environments.
factory, you could be in a giant clock.
Big Ben.
Yes. Let's delve
I
into Big Ben's gears.
You're saying you want to die by falling into gears, or that's your
No,
worst
no, I
fear?
do not. I do not want to die by falling into gears. I don't.
Yeah, that's do you think it'd be quick, or it's kind of like
No.
painful?
Very painful. It would be very, very painful to fall into gears.
Yeah, I you ever seen those videos on I don't know if you have Snapchat or anyone uses Snapchat. They're just maybe TikTok. They're just these random those videos where it's like oddly satisfying, where there's one of them, it's like these gears going, and then
Yeah.
they're just throwing like silly putty. They're throwing like a shovel, and you're just seeing it like grind up. You never seen those?
Yes, I've seen those types
Yeah.
of videos. Yes.
So I'm just imagining you
Yeah.
accidentally like trying to throw something in there, and your arm just kind of like gets, I don't know, it's oddly satisfying. Not for that to happen to you, but like for another object.
I think that the moment that I started to fall into gears, I would be so sad because like if your worst fear is actually coming true, and that's like my worst fear, like that I would die by falling into gears. And if I started to fall into gears, I'd be like, oh no, this is my worst fear.
I just feel like it's happening. It's happening.
I don't know what.
I was thinking about that today. Like, I don't know why I'm such a fucking sick fuck, but anyway, I just was thinking about the times where I've almost come close to death. And one of those times was when I was 5 years old. I remember finding a quarter and just for some reason putting it into my mouth and just like sucking on this quarter. And I just feel it fall, like kind of, I start choking. And I just remember my 5-year-old self thinking, this is it. This is this is how I'm going to die. Like I'm choking on a quarter. And then all of a sudden my uncle just comes out of nowhere, like helping me. But that was just one of those instances. I'm like, that is the dumbest way to go.
That is choking on a quarter is pretty dumb. But I mean, kids are dumb though. What do you expect?
Right.
Kids are not smart.
You live and you learn, I guess, right?
Yeah, I guess you did, literally.
I don't know what I was doing. 5-year-old things. But sharks are definitely, I was like, oh, that's the coolest way to go for sure. I feel like it'd be a little worse than falling in gears. No, you're like in water drowning and also getting ripped apart by an animal, right? I feel like that would be a little worse.
Falling in gears. I think falling in gears would be worse than being ripped apart by an animal, because
a shark attack in the water.
Well, because here's the thing: the animals want to immobilize you as fast as they possibly can. Okay, so they'll like go for your throat, snap your neck, to make sure that you're just dead. So it'll be faster. if it's a formidable animal, like if it was like ants, that would be different. If it was just like you died, by eaten by ants, that'd be awful.
That would take a long time.
Yes. and you could be eaten by ants, like if you were buried to your head in the sand and then just a bunch of red ants were just released.
Oh my god. You should write for 1,000 Ways to Die. That's one way.
Yeah, there's I like in the future I'm going to write some pretty terrifying horror movies.
Why does I feel I like I all right, that's a part of like my whole bucket list. I've always wanted to write and direct or co-direct a horror film, like one that is so good, not those corny weird ones, even though they're still kind of good, but like they just suck pretty much. But anyway, like Just write, direct one that is so good that 20 plus years down the line, someone's gonna want to remake what you made as a horror film.
You want to make something iconic.
Right.
Right. I think about that all the time. Every time that I make something, I'm trying to make something that has staying power. Like, I try to come up with something that will be a thing that people will look back at and say, like, that was, it'll be something that helps set a standard. But I try to do that. I mean, you can't always do that. But I try to.
No. But I feel like if it's a horror film, like a feature film,
yeah,
for me personally, I think that is my goal.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I mean, I feel like that's my goal with everything, though.
It must be iconic.
Well, no, I really want. I spend a lot of time thinking, obviously, because
if you don't think, what happens?
I spend a lot of time contemplating, and then I try to break everything down to like what is absolutely most important to me as an artist, like what I'm really, really trying to do. And then I know that to get the message that I'm trying to get across to people, which the general message is I'm trying to get people to think of other people and be good to other people. That's my message. Like my general idea. That's what I want to happen. I do that through dick jokes, yes, but but then the thing that's most important about how I accomplish that is communication. So that's the most important thing for me. I'm trying to communicate to people, and that means that if I really want something to stick, it has to have real impact. And if it has real impact, then it's just got to be one of those things that really grabs you. And so it has that all points towards something being iconic. And I'm not saying that everything I do is iconic, because it can't be, but I do try to think in a way, like I want to write something that people it's an experience for people. Like when I was telling you that stupid thing that I just wrote about the shark,
right?
Shark attack thing. It's just like it becomes like this weird fun thing, and it makes people laugh, and you get it. It's just fun. I like it. I feel the same way about, I had this bit that I just did that is really going well about gender pronouns. And it's actually and the best part about it is I've changed people's minds with it. It's a joke that I did to someone who disagreed with me, and then I told him the joke, and it changed his mind.
Wow. Wait, what is this joke? Or can I see where you've said this joke? Or
it's on my Instagram, actually. You could totally look at it on my Instagram.
Oh, I'll definitely watch that.
Yeah, it's basically just a joke where I talk about the fact that I'm just gonna paraphrase. I'm not gonna tell you the whole joke.
Okay.
but I talk about the fact that you should call people whatever pronoun they want to be called. And I say that people who say that they won't do that are assholes, because we already call people whatever they want to be called, because that's what nicknames are. And then I just talk about how stupid nicknames get. And people are like, call me Junebug, and you're like, oh, but I won't say they, so it's just people being an asshole. They're not taking the effort. And so that's basically what the joke is about. Just like you're just being a lazy asshole.
I love that. It's totally just goes with what's going on now, especially. I've honestly lost friends ever since that's been so much more accepted now, the whole pronoun stuff. I don't want to call it stuff, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Well, it is stuff too. I mean, it's both. It is important, and it's also stuff, because it's I want people to have whatever identity they want to have. I absolutely do. But I also know that some people are just waiting to jump down other people's throat if they say something even remotely wrong, and I know that both of those things exist in the world. And so I'm just saying, I absolutely think it's important, but I also think that sometimes people push things too hard.
It's on both ends where it's a little extreme, But when
Yeah.
it comes to the whole pronouns, I totally agree with that. It's
Yeah.
like, who made up these rules of like, oh, like I'm not gonna call you by what you want to be called, you liberals. Like I can't stand people
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
you actually basically almost just did a line from the joke, because
Oh.
cause at the beginning I say you never go you never do this, like, hey, my name is Bill. You're like, oh, you don't look like a Bill to me. Ugh, I've never had to call anybody Bill before. I'm not gonna start now, William.
Like I went to this I recently went to this big it was like an LGBTQ kind of like, it was basically a gay Brooklyn Mirage. I don't know if you've ever heard of Brooklyn Mirage, but it's like this big venue. It's like
I
kind
have
of
not.
it's like a rave kind of type place. And I went and I met this they go by they, and their name was like, it was like whore or something. And I was like, I guess I was like, wait, what? It was so loud in there. I was like, what did you want me to call you? She was like, whore love. And I was like, okay, all right, I'll that's what you want to be called.
Oh my god,
like,
I love
so
that.
I'm like calling like whore, come here. Like and people are looking at me like, what the fuck did you call them? And I'm like, that's what they want to be called. Like I'm not calling them intentionally a whore, like in a bad, it's good intention. That's what they want to be called.
No, you
But
just reminded me, like, so I have this every once in a while. I tweet out this drag queen name because I want somebody to use this name as a drag queen, and
what-
I'm gonna do it again today. I've done it multiple times,
let's
asking
hear
people
it.
to someone. Here's I think it's the best drag queen name. This is the best drag queen name, Cream Elizabeth.
Cream Elizabeth.
Yes, Cream Elizabeth.
I love that.
Right?
Cream Elizabeth.
I want somebody to become Cream Elizabeth.
With like a white kind of like platinum wig.
Oh yeah, just go for it.
I love that. Cream Elizabeth. I have a friend who at night like transitions into, you know, a woman, and she goes by Sophia Viagra. And I'm like, I fucking love that. Like, why am I not as cool as them? You know, I want a cool name. I might switch up my name. Fuck it. I need to be creative though. I don't know what I would name myself.
Cream Elizabeth.
Cream Elizabeth. But I feel like you need to be like more fair. I don't look like a Cream Elizabeth, to be honest. Or maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I'll let you know. Oh,
I think you'd
God.
be a fine Cream Elizabeth.
Oh man. So have you been I know you said you don't really do stand up as or you're getting back into it now this year.
There was
After-
a show that I just was headlining weekly
Mhm.
in Williamsburg that I was just
Mm.
doing for a while.
Which one?
It was Comedy Secret Show at Easy Lover Bar.
Easy Lover. I've heard. I live in Bushwick, so.
Oh yeah, well
I
we're
kinda
very
live-
close to each other. I live in Ridgewood, Queens.
Oh, nice. I love Ridgewood.
Yeah, so do I. You play pool?
I do. I'm a rock star at
let's
pool.
go.
I'm down.
Let's go.
Why? Where are you playing pool? Where is it? Is it the Windjammer? Is that what it's called?
No, there's 3 pool bars near me.
Mm-hmm.
One is called Bonus Room.
Uh-huh.
And there's another one called Cozy Corner.
We won't
And,
discuss on here because some weirdo might show up, but yeah, I definitely would. Yeah, I'll rip you in pool, man. I've been playing since I was 8, so.
Oh no, you're gonna destroy me. But that's fine. Oh my, I have the best pool story though.
Mhm.
Here's why I can play pool at all. Because about, I would say 6 years ago,
Mhm.
I have 2 younger brothers who play pool pretty good, and they played and I was just terrible. I was just like really, really bad, and they just made fun of me all night long. And so I practiced every day for about 4 years, and I beat them one by one.
Nice.
Yes.
Do you play on the phone too? I also play on the phone. Like
I
there's
don't.
the apps. They're a ton of fun.
Oh yeah, they teach you.
They definitely help. Yeah, like they help me with the whole angle kind of. Yeah, it definitely has been very helpful. It's kind of like a little cheat for me.
Well, I'll do that. I'll make a pool game for my website.
You should. Oh
I'll
my
call
god,
it Trick
yes.
Shot.
Trick Shot.
Ah, yeah, Trick Shot.
I love that.
Because it's actually a game that I like to play where, in pool, where you put a ball on the table and then you have a ball on the table, you have a cue ball, and then your opponent just picks the hole that you're shooting for.
Your opponent picks it?
Yeah.
But like, what if they're purposely trying not to?
Yeah, because the first one to sink a ball wins. So they pick the hole you're going for. So like if I was playing you pick the hole that I'm going for, and then I pick the hole that you're going for. And if you can get it in that hole, you win.
That's hard.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's really fun.
I feel like that'd be really slow paced. I'd be like, all right, you're obviously not wanting me to win.
Of course they don't want you to win. Of course they're your opponent. It's fun. It's really fun. But that could be easily turned into an app.
Yeah. Yeah, no, true. Wow. You should get to it. Once we're off here, get to making that pool game. That'd be a hit. A lot of people love pool. So
yeah, I think it'd be a pretty fun game.
yeah. I guess
actually, I'm gonna write it down. I gotta write it down.
Yeah, write it. Go. I'll give you.
This is how I get things done. I have an endless list.
I'm the same way with the whole notes thing. Why did I write that? I never liked cocaine. Thank God. Why is that in my notes? What is this?
That's your notes from today's show?
No. I don't know when I wrote this. I just literally have, I don't know if you could see that. It's just bullet points of when I write them down.
I'm not a big fan of cocaine at all either.
I don't like, it's so nasty. I don't like the way it tastes coming down the throat. It doesn't even, it makes me feel like a fucking cokehead for 15 minutes. Like I'm very feral and then I'm like depressed.
I don't like it for other reasons. I'm just gonna say I'm one of those dudes who cannot get an erection on cocaine, and I found that out by doing cocaine twice and not being able to get an erection, and I was just like, what? And then someone was like, you got coke tick, and I was like, coke what? That's a thing? I was like, no, I'm not doing this ever again.
I just don't like the way it makes I feel like I already have like ADHD. Like I'm kind of a crazy person. Well, not crazy person. I shouldn't say that. But like I'm very, hyper sometimes. So with coke, I'm like, it's making me feel just like I'm going to combust,
Yeah. I was actually an ADHD I guess I still am. I was diagnosed ADHD.
I think everyone is personally, I think everyone has something.
I agree. I mean, the more that you know people, the more I get to know people, the more I can see that everybody has just like weird quirks in their personality.
Right.
Just like everybody's just like this really misshapen animal, but that's fine.
Right. We're not all cookie cutter. We're not all perfect.
Yeah.
I sometimes notice my arm goes like this when I'm like standing. I'm like, why am I doing that? What is wrong with me?
Because you're a dinosaur.
I'm just like, I'll stand there talking to someone and it's like this and my partner goes, I love your mannerisms. And I'm like, what does that fucking mean? Because you just sometimes do this. And I'm like, ew.
That's really funny.
Do you think comedians should be relatable to an audience?
Relatable to an audience. What do you mean by relatable?
Like, should we be do they always have to be relatable to be successful?
You mean friendly?
Not friendly. Like if we mentioned relatable in a sense where you're like, how do I say this? When people start, normally when an audience laughs and they're clapping as they're laughing, it's like because they can relate to what you said. Like it's kind of like, do you get what I mean?
Because they can relate to. Oh, so you mean relatable like in the most literal sense?
Right. Yes.
You just mean like should a comedian tell stories with references that the audience gets?
Like should we always be that way to be successful? Should we always like should we always be relatable to them, or should?
If you're asking me if you should be friendly, I would say you don't have to be friendly to be funny. If you're asking me should they understand you? Yes, they have to understand you for you to be funny.
I'll take that. I'll take it.
I'm sorry, I don't understand exactly what you mean by relatable in this context. So
there's okay. So I have one routine that I haven't done in a while, but it hit. It was fun. It was great. It was amazing. It's one of my best sets actually. And I was maybe like 20 or 21 at the time, and I discussed the pros and cons of being abducted. So I feel like in the audience, I've asked them, I made sure no one's been abducted before, but it hit. And I'm asking for, I feel like I'm like stretching this out right now, but like I'm asking, should a comedian be relatable to the audience, like in order to be great, or like, I don't know.
I don't understand how your question
I'm just gonna take what you told me
relates to your story that you told exactly.
because it's not relatable, but it still worked.
Being abducted is not relatable.
Because in the audience, I'm pretty sure in the audience, no one was abducted that night.
I hate to say it, but I think you're actually missing the point.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about being abducted is relatable.
Right. Okay. Yes.
So you were being relatable.
So we're constantly being relatable.
Well, I mean, everybody has errant thoughts. Like, I spent a long time thinking that people don't think the way that I do. And I know some people don't, because I'm willing to do and say things that other people are not willing to do or say, or I speak in a different way or communicate in a different way. I get it. Everybody's different. That's not my point. My point is that I have dark thoughts, and so does everybody else. And sometimes when you have dark, weird thoughts, you are being relatable because everybody says things or does things that really don't make sense in their head. They're like, why am I doing that? Why am I thinking that?
So I guess
at least I am.
Yeah, that answers my question then. We should be relatable. I guess we're always, in a way, we're all human. We're all fucked. Yes. We all can agree.
Yeah, the world is chaos.
Oh, God. Well, that answered my question. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I feel like comedy should always be evolving, I guess. Or it always is evolving. There's certain things that 30 years ago is not going to work now, you know? I guess my next question for you would be, how do you feel about the sensitivity of, like, you know, I'm always told, like, oh, everyone's so sensitive now. You probably shouldn't joke about this, blah, blah, blah. How do you feel about that? Like, what is your word of wisdom on that?
I've been asked that question a lot. And my answer is the same. It's not the same as it was when I first started answering the question, but I kind of arrived on an idea that I really believe in.
Mm-hmm.
And here it is. I think comedians can joke about whatever they want to joke about. Like,
right, yeah,
go for it.
Agreed.
But don't be mad if your joke sucks and people hate you. If you're going to go there, if you're going to like jump on that subject matter, either be perfect or don't be mad because people hate you. If you communicated what you were trying to communicate, if you're actually funny and communicating something intelligent about that subject, you can reach people. But if you don't reach people, that's on you.
Yeah.
And you can say, yeah, but people are oversensitive. Yeah, that's the way the world is. But oversensitive people also have senses of humor, and you can reach people. Like, you can. It's possible.
Right.
And I'm not even trying to say that I'm good at it, because I'm not. I'm figuring things out. I once did a joke. I was doing a joke about there's a device called a rape condom in Africa, which is this thing that a woman will put inside her vagina, and if a guy, it'll hook on a guy's
when they
penis.
try to pull.
Yeah,
out,
and they
right?
can't, and that has to be removed by a surgeon. So I was trying to do a joke about that, but I was at a show and I mentioned the word rape, and this woman in the audience was like, you can't make a joke about rape. And I was like, I'm not actually making a joke about rape. It's about a rape condom. But I had just started this joke, so I had no idea really what I was saying. So I didn't have anything to back it up. So she was right, and she won. She was like, don't bring up rape. She goes, don't bring up rape in your thing. And I was like, but I have a joke about this thing, but I really didn't. And that was on me. That's on me. So
right.
Just when you do that, when you do say certain words in front of a crowd, some people will react a certain way, and you better be ready to deliver.
Right. I definitely I was in a very conservative ass town. It's not even Hoboken. I was making jokes in Hoboken at some bar. I got booked at some bar that someone was.
Is that how you say Hoboken?
Hoboken, yeah.
You said Hoboken.
Hoboken.
But other people say Hoboken.
Hoboken.
No.
What are you?
You're saying, I'm saying Hoboken. Like I'm putting the emphasis on the first syllable. And you're going Hoboken.
Yes. Hoboken.
What? No.
Yes. Are you kidding me? I was raised in New Jersey. Don't. In the same
Is that
county.
how people say it?
What is the
Hoboken?
Hoboken. Hoboken.
No, you just said it wrong again. You did. You
Tomato,
did right
tomato,
once,
potato,
and then you did it wrong
potato.
again. What?
It's the same
This
shit.
is crazy.
What the fuck were we even talking about? Oh, me performing in front of conservatives. Yes.
Where?
In Hoboken. I was in Hoboken. Hoboken. I like the way I say it. It's prettier. Hoboken. Okay, so I was performing there, and I was joking about the time I got arrested and kind of like slamming cops a little bit, but it's not what you say, it's how you say shit. And that set has worked so many times, but since I was there and there was like a bunch of old white dudes that just got off work and they're having a beer, they were like, no, like you should have listened to the cops kind of energy. You know what I mean? I was like, fuck y'all. Well, I couldn't really say that on the mic, but yeah, it was just like a different kind of, I don't know. I guess I should have switched up how I said it that night so they could have been on my side, but
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get it. I mean, everybody bombs me. I bombed many a time.
Right, yeah. It was
Because
Oscars night.
I experiment too much. That's
God.
probably on me too.
Well, you try try that out at open mics, no? To see if it
Yeah,
hits.
totally. I'll do. Yeah.
My thing
Sometimes.
about open mics though, it's like it's all these comedians trying to practice like you. And it's like, are they really listening? Do they really want to laugh at what you're saying? You know what I mean? So I get like really mixed.
I like open mics. I like open mics that are in places where there's like a real audience, or I also like I also do like just doing like small shows, because I'll perform for like 8 people who are real people and have a great time too.
Right. Yeah, no. I like intimate settings when it comes to either performing my show, my routines, or practicing. I have you ever gone to an open mic at the Tiny Cupboard?
Nope.
It's actually really nice. It's Monday through Thursday or something. I gotta have to look up the website, and there's a good little crowd. It's mostly comedians, but they'll laugh. They'll like appreciate, they're like, oh, that actually was funny, and then in the end you have a choice whether or not to get a 2-minute feedback from everyone. So maybe
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I want to make a short film about that.
Yeah, no, they do that. And then they're like, I really liked what you said about this, but you should say like this. And I'm like, oh shit, that sucked. I'm not saying that. Or like, oh, that works. Like sometimes they give good advice, but
Oh my gosh, I would love to make a short film about. I'm totally gonna do that. So I have this these series of like little mini documentaries that I was doing about doing comedy in New York City, and that would be an amazing mini documentary.
Little feedback from all the other from your
Yeah.
competition. Yeah.
They give you 2 minutes. See, and here's the thing. So my initial reaction is like, oh, what? Like the nerve of those precious blah blah blahs. But then I'm also like, I'm curious now.
Yeah, no, it's pretty interesting. I need to go. I haven't gone in a while, but normally I practice there and I meet some cool fellas, you know. So you should
Oh
definitely try it out.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make a little short about it. I did a short about doing a house party, like performing at a house party. It was really fun. Yeah, I'll send it to you. You'll like it. It's a little web series thing.
I want to watch it for sure. Do you think, because you are a Black albino man, do you see that as like, I don't want to say leverage in the industry, but do you see like more opportunity since you are like, you know, you stick out more than most, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, I can use it for opportunity. Like if I had continued down the path that I started, where I was just getting cast in one movie after another as the albino weirdo guy, but on top of that being talented, I could have kept going that direction. But I mean, that was a scary direction for me.
Right.
In fact, because I use this as an analogy all the time. Like I keep saying, I want to be Peter Dinklage, not Vern Troyer.
Oh.
No, but it makes sense, right?
It's true. No, it's so true.
So I was like, not trying to like throw shade at Vern Troyer. I mean, because Mini Me is awesome, but people know him as Mini Me.
Right. That's the only thing they know him as.
Yeah. And I was like, I want to have a career where people think of me as a full artist. It was important to me. It is like, but I mean, it is like, in truth, who really cares? But it's just what I wanted. No,
I respect that. That is, yeah. No, I would be pissed off to be fucking, you know, typecasted every time. It's the same thing over and over again.
And as it is now, it is kind of like it is a thing that people do respond to because it's part of who I am. But it is also very clear to people that like, I have many accomplishments behind me that like let people know like I'm an actual artist rather than a novelty. I have this podcast that I signed a deal for. So I have this thing where I try to do things sometimes that are just like ridiculous and see if I can make them work. And I did sign a deal where I got like money to make this podcast called Wiki Listen.
Ooh.
Wiki Listen. And so it's a podcast where me and Rachel, whom you met, works with me. We read Wikipedia pages and we react to them every day. And so it's like a daily podcast where we read Wikipedia pages that are just, all over the place. Like we're reading a Wikipedia page coming up for a cat gun. I'm sorry, not a cat gun. It's called a chicken gun. I'm sorry. A chicken gun. And it does fire chickens as ammunition. It is it is a gun. It's a gun that airplane manufacturers use this gun to shoot bird carcasses at windshields or airplane windshields and stuff to see how they'll react, because that's something that happens to airplanes all the time. So they had to make this thing called a chicken gun. The reason they call it chicken gun because they can get more chickens easily, so they fire more chickens than any other type of bird. Chicken gun.
I need to look. What the hell?
Yeah. Anyway, my podcast is awesome because I get to read Wikipedia pages, which I love to do, and they're crazy. And it's every day. Check it out at wikilisten.com. And if you want to request, we'll do an episode where we'll dedicate an episode to you. If you request a Wikipedia page, you tell me what you want us to read, and we'll read a Wikipedia page for you. Do you have a favorite Wikipedia page? Because a lot of people do.
A favorite one?
Yes.
I mean, I love Tom Hanks, but it's not like an object. Like a chicken. It's not as cool as a chicken gun.
Okay, you can email me and we'll do one and we'll do shout out you in the episode.
I love that. Oh, thanks, Victor. Oh, it was such a pleasure. I'm so glad I got to meet you electronically.
Yeah, it was
Right?
awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
And I'll see you around.
Yes.
And we're gonna play pool.
We're playing pool. We're going to the tiny cupboard, and I'm looking up a weird object so you can fucking read about for your Wiki Listen podcast. Deal?
100%.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening and or watching. Victor, please come on again. It was such a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, totally. Anytime.
Bye, guys. And I need to smoke next time because I was way too sober for this.